sponsored by Local Touch Online, a free online magazine that has an exclusive article by Pop Culture Geekery every month. If you're looking for a home in New Braunfels or the surrounding areas, Lorna Gens is the realtor for you. She's got over 16 years experience and numerous accolades to her name. Visit her today at facebook.com/LGensRealtor. So first up here on Unearthing My Childhood, we're going to be looking at the Ninja Turtle figures from 1988 to 1992. So basically this is anything that I found when cleaning out my parents' house. So there's going to be weapons missing, there's going to be some dust on a lot of this stuff. So I just wanted to take you guys through some of this stuff that we grew up with. Me and my brother, this was around the time that he actually started getting toys with me. And so this would have been, the generation that we would have been buying some of these turtle toys together. So let's take a look at each one. So first up, we have the leader of the turtles, Leonardo. This is the 1988 release. And so I remember getting this one because I've always been attracted to the leaders of most groups, whether it be Optimus Prime and Transformers or Duke and G.I. Joe. So Leonardo was always my favorite turtle, but it's kind of hard to pick because I love them all for their own personalities. But so this one is what I've been taught is called the Soft Head, which apparently was one of the first releases. So basically, if you grab his head, it is kind of squishy. He comes with the full set of weapons that you see here, and I'm not well versed in my martial arts weapons other than to know that those are ninja stars there on the ground, and other than that I don't know what the other ones are. So, and here on his back you see he's got his twin katana blades. If you look at the one on the crossing to the left, you will see that I had a problem chewing on my toys as a child, apparently, because that one has some chew marks on it. But other than that, this guy is complete, and this was from the first year that the Turtles started releasing their toys. Next up, we have the 1988 Raphael release. So this was the only other turtle that I found that we had gotten from the initial release. It's also a soft head, and so you see it's got his traditional size there in his belt, and you've got basically every turtle came with the throwing stars and the one weapon there to the left. He actually came with this part in his back where he would put this other extra accessory. So like I said, these were the only two out of the initial run of the Turtles that my brother and I got. So him and I would kind of trade off on the ones that we would buy. So whether or not a Donatello and a Michelangelo exist from this first one, I don't know. They could turn up later when I do some more digging. Next up, we have the 1988 Master Splinter here. So again, he came with the throwing stars. He has the bow and arrow there with the arrow permanently attached to his bow. And then he just has this little walking stick, because Master Splinter, of course, we all know, can't defend himself. So you know, he just has his walking stick, which of course serves no other purpose. But then, surprise! Master Splinter's walking stick turns into a blade, so I think he's going to be just fine. But anyway, so Master Splinter came with all these accessories. Pretty sure he's complete. Been going through so many toys lately. I've made notes upon notes of what's complete and what's not. But definitely a cool figure, and it was nice to have the leader of the Turtles. Next up, we have Bebop here. Now, the thing about Bebop is, unfortunately, you never got Rocksteady. Because the thing is, when you're a kid, you know, you want to be a collector, but you're at the mercy of your parents buying you the toys. So, unfortunately, just like missing, you know, two of the Turtles from this one, he's also the 1988 release. Just never got Rocksteady. I feel like I've seen him. I feel like a cousin of mine had him. I know I never got a Shredder. I remember we used to make fun of the Shredder that was released this year because he was super skinny. But anyway, so this is it for the 1988 figures that I had. So moving on to 1989, here we have one of the introductions of a character that was not solely created for the Ninja Turtles. This is Usagi Yojimbo, and he was actually created by Stan Sakai, and he was all the way from back in 1984. So somewhere, I didn't research the exact details, but obviously there was a time when they made a deal to have him appear on the cartoon, and thus he is, you know, made a toy here. But I know I was kind of glancing through, apparently they kept him going to where he had other appearances and other Turtle properties. So it was pretty cool that the creator of this got to, you know, let their character shine, because he was anthropomorphic, and so he was a perfect fit for the Turtles mythology. So he is definitely missing a lot of his weapons. He's missing his armor, and unfortunately his once white fur has yellowed with time. So, but it is what it is. So this is 1989's Genghis Frog, and he's actually from an episode where Shredder had some mutagen land on some frogs in the swamp, and they all mutated, and so Shredder convinced them that he needed their help against the Turtles, and he decided to name them after famous conquerors and dictators. So you had Attila the Frog, you had Napoleon Bonafrog, you had Rasputin the Mad Frog, and then you had Genghis Frog here. So, you know, obviously after a while it was just an excuse to make more toys. So even 1 year into the toy line, they were looking for new characters. So I vaguely remember this episode. I remember enjoying it. This guy obviously comes with a gun that is a frog tongue because he's a frog, so why not? And I know he's missing some stuff. That belt used to hold like 4 tear gas cans. And then he's got this shield that I don't know if it's supposed to double as a little surfboard or what, but it's got some like hooks there on the bottom, so pretty lethal. But anyway, fun figure. Always made me wish that the Battletoads had crossed over with Ninja Turtles in the old cartoon. I don't know if it's since happened. In this day and age, everybody's getting a crossover, so it's possible. And so this is 1989's Rock and Roll Michelangelo. So it's possible that since we were able to find Donatello and Leonardo, this was the only Michelangelo we could find, because just because these are the specific years for these releases doesn't necessarily mean that that's the year that we bought them, because of course stuff was on the shelf from previous releases and whatnot. So this Michelangelo comes with a whole host of weird little trinkets, including two snakes there on the left that are tied together, and what looks like a garbage lid with a bunch of utensils attached to it. And then even the weapon in the middle is not necessarily his traditional nunchucks, but let's see if he still works. So that would be a negative on whether or not Michelangelo still works. I mean, he seems to work with a little bit of prompting here, but you know, that's not how you want your toys to operate. But you know, he's over 20 years old, so gotta cut him some slack. Now, I'm not too sure who this figure is. Appears to be some guy in a trench coat eating what looks to be like a black piece of pizza. So, I mean, he obviously likes his pizza super well done. But, yeah, I have absolutely no idea who this figure is. Oh my god, it was Donatello the whole time. So, I know that it was hard for you guys to tell as well. But, so the idea with the turtles in the trench coats, I cannot remember if it was introduced in the cartoon first or the live-action movie first, but it is definitely an idea that is carried forward. So this is the 1990 Don the Undercover Turtle, and so I know he's definitely missing some more stuff. He's missing a briefcase. I cannot remember what else he's missing, but I always thought it was super funny, the idea of the turtles just literally putting on. They normally just wear the trench coat and the fedoras. The mask is actually an attempt to, you know, go a little bit further to try to conceal their identity. So, fun figure. I don't think there was any others that did this particular style, but who knows? There were so many figures back in the day. Speaking of Donatello, apparently 1990 was the year of Donatello for us, because this is the 1990 Don the Storage Shell Turtle. So basically with these, you had all this stuff that you would put in their shell. I don't know that I've ever attempted to put everything. I'm sure it would fit. But if you look there on the ground, you've got to the left, you've got a slingshot. You've got a pizza with razor edges. Yet more ninja stars. There's one of them missing. You've got some sort of primitive axe there, and then a knife that's been fashioned out of a dead fish. And of course you have his traditional bow staff. Now you have a place there on his back that appears to be where you would stick his bow staff, but it kind of seems like you'd have to force it in there, which is not something I'm going to do for a 20-year-old toy. And then here's what the storage shell looks like open, which I think looks really weird, because now it makes it look like Donatello is truly naked, even though I realize the turtles already were not wearing anything other than headbands, knee pads, elbow pads, and wrist guards. But fun figure line. I don't know what other ones they had, but this was the one. Again, we probably got this one because we needed a Donatello, because he would have been the fourth turtle that we were missing. I spoke too soon. Looks like the next year, in 1991, here is the Raphael with the storage shell. So I don't know what was up with the designs of the weapons. Obviously he has his traditional weapons there, but if you look all the way to the right, you basically have a blowfish that is on a chain. And then you've got another medieval weapon there on the ground, looks like a mace with an axe wrapped around it. Oh no, sorry, I just saw this. It's a manta ray that's wrapped around it. So, and then you have a boomerang. Let's see, does it have an aquatic theme? Because that seems to be the thing here. It could be a seashell for all I know. Anyway, yeah, so I guess after a while, you know, you try to make the figures interesting. And then of course, here on the back, again, he has that a spot specifically for that weapon. So, you know, it's definitely not something he used in the cartoon, but as far as his action figures, he really liked having that on there. And here is the storage cell feature, and now Raph is the one who looks like he's naked, but definitely not afraid. There comes a time in every toy line when you just stop and say, we've done every figure that we have, every character that we have, what else can we do? So here we have the 1991 Pro Pilot Don. So obviously Donatello has joined not any military force that we know of, because if you were able to see there on his chest, you have USTF, which I'm going to have to assume stands for the United States Turtle Force, which I personally didn't know about. So those of you who know your history, you learned something new today. The United States has a Turtle Force. So the only thing I know that he's missing, there on the right, you see the breather mask that actually used to go to a helmet. And then on the bottom left, it looks like a paper airplane, but it's actually this weird gun that looks like it has a mini stealth bomber on it. And it's hard to get him to hold it, which is why it's on the ground. And then that in his left hand is not a bent lead pipe. It actually used to have an American flag on it. Who knows where that ended up. And of course there on his back you can see that there is a parachute, and I don't know if you guys can see the top there on the third part of the parachute. There is patchwork already. So definitely not the best craftsmanship and not what I would want to jump out of an airplane using. And here on the back you can see that the parachute looks like it can be removed. So that way if you don't want to always play with Donatello while he's free falling, then you can just actually use him while he's still on the ground. Okay guys, so at this point I'm starting to question myself about which was my favorite turtle, because here we have yet another Donatello. This is 1991's Headdroppin Don. So all I can say about Donatello is I remember the Ninja Turtles arcade game. I do remember liking using him the most because of his bow staff had the best reach in that game. So maybe I did change from Leonardo to Donatello. Either that, or I'd have to check with my brother to see who his favorite turtle was, because, you know, we were both playing with this at the same time. So this turtle, it's the one where the head drops into the shell, and I guess going in with that theme, we have a random two-handled periscope there, right in front of him on the bottom, and then we have random trash can lid, and to the bottom left we have a pretty dangerous piece. It's basically, it looks like Lucille almost from The Walking Dead, Negan's weapon. It's basically a bat with a bunch of nails in it. So, you know, the standards for kids' toy weapons was obviously a lot lighter back then. So this is what Donatello would look like with his head dropped. And let's see if we can get it to pop back up. What was the trigger for this? Oh yeah, that's right, you squeeze the legs. That probably didn't even show up on the camera. Let's do that again. Amazing. Amazing technology. And finally we have 1992's Super-Swimmin Raph. Because, you know, after you've been fighting the foot for so long, and you just want to find other things to do, why not go join the Olympics? Which is exactly what Raph did here. And he seems like he did very well for himself, because he's got a couple of gold medals around his neck. Spoiler alert, he has one huge shiny gold medal there on the ground. He has his snorkeling gear to the left, and he's got his USA boogie board on the right, and he's already wearing his flippers. Now this one, I don't know how he was supposed to activate, but the arms looked like they were supposed to go in a swimming motion. Obviously he knows the breaststroke and the backstroke for sure. And here we have the Party Wagon, or as I grew up knowing it, the Turtle Van, which I'm pretty sure they called it at some point. But unfortunately, our Turtle Van has seen its fair share of battles, because as you can clearly see, the door that used to swing open here is completely missing. Was able to salvage a couple of the bombs, you know, the laughing gas and the stinko gas, so that's good. And of course the turtles want to remind you what the brand name is, and if you didn't see it up top, you're going to see it here in the front. And if it's not obvious that this vehicle belongs to the turtles, that grin there at the bottom should make it pretty obvious. Obviously here the turtles are fans of the old 1960s Batman, because they have the classic comic book action words around their party time. And then back here you clearly see the I don't know, engine exhaust. I am not a car person. I'm sure I'm gonna get told what that is, but anyway, so this was the Party Wagon. And here we have the pizza thrower, because whenever you need to take down the foot, use the thing that's most available to you, which is an unlimited supply of pizza. As you can see, we have the pizzas already lined up and ready to start firing. Apparently the turtles forgot that there was one on the seat here. And we have pizza gas, which I don't know what that means. I don't know, does it mean that pizza gives you gas, or that is the gas made of pizza, or what exactly are we going for there? So over here we have the cheese dispenser and tomato sauce, you know, normal things you put on pizza. But we also have whipped cream, which if you know the turtles, you know that that's not unusual to have that as a topping. And they just want to let you know that they do deliver here. And there is danger whenever the turtles are working, not men. But wait, there's more. If you look here, you can also add jelly beans to your pizza. Or not just anchovies, but anchovy guts. And if you want customized garlic breath, now not the garlic, this is just the breath, then here you can add that as well. Not sure what that is for at the bottom, but it seems to be running low. And you have the classic ones here in the back, pepperoni, sausage, and their license plate is the works. So this would actually be a pretty messy machine if it was in action. I would love some of the new crossovers they've done to use this. I know the Batman Turtles crossover just used the Turtle Van, and they had a lot of fun with that, even finding ways to explain how it launched pizzas. So anyway, that's the pizza thrower. So there you have it. There's my surviving turtle toys. And so I know that there's still some that are out there. There's still stuff to be cleaned out at my parents' house. So more turtle toys may surface, but for now, these were the ones that were unearthed. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please hit like. If you like this series, I am going to be doing more, doing stuff from the 80s and 90s that we used to collect. So be sure and subscribe and go ahead and follow us on social media. I did post a preview of this on Facebook, so if you're following us there, you got to see this early. Other than that, thanks a lot guys, and we will see you next time.